Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto becomes super powerful in Highschool DxD part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. School The speaker has the appearance of a young man in his early teens with a slender physique and soft white skin. He was a beautiful young man with thin stature which accentuated his glamorous and fair-skinned face, with a manly and charming air of a pure young man. He has a finely textured golden hair that seems as if it had been sprinkled with golden dust. His outfit consists of a dark blue button-up long sleeve with the chest button being open, accompanied by a brown leopard patterned suit with only one buttoned in the middle being buttons. His pants is a dark blue dress pants accompanied by a black shoes. He wasn't the type to wear such clothes, but he has to at least look respectable when enrolling in a school. He didn't like the attention he gotten from the girls. Though he noticed how a certain red-haired big-breasted girl was looking at him along with several people, even the principal, he couldn't really care less. If she has something to say then she should say it. He didn't like it when someone was looking at him as if they wanted to say something yet ended up not being able to say anything. He stepped out of the gate and immediately noticed something is really different. First, there is nobody outside, not even a simple pedestrian. Second, the area was covered in magic and he wonders why the supernatural he senses couldn't sense it. It's not like they are that incompetent, right? And lastly, a giant at least 3-story house-sized black dragon standing on its 4 legs was there staring at him. Oh, don't stare at me like that, master, you'll make me blush. The giant dragon gushed in a very feminine manner, even the voice despite being harsh and loud was feminine. A vein throbbed on the blonde's forehead. What are you doing here? A smile won the dragon's face was so smug he felt like punching it. I've come to pick you up. How did you know when exactly I would come out? Oh, you silly, I followed you. Another vein popped on the blonde's forehead. You mean to tell me that you were already there since the beginning? The dragon nodded its giant head enthusiastically. Yup. The blonde's fingers started twitching. Then how come nobody noticed you? He asked, fearing what the answer would be. The dragon smiled brightly. Oh. There are bugs who had seen me earlier, though they are mostly devils, and asked me what I am doing here. I told them to leave me alone or I'll destroy them, but not before telling them that I was waiting for you, Naruto-san. The now named Naruto's eyes bulged as red veins started appearing on his eyes while he held his head. Excuse me? Did I misheard you? You told them you were waiting for me? The dragon nodded while Naruto fell to his knees. How could this be? Is that why those devils are looking at him like that earlier, and even the principal? Does it mean that his school life is already ruined before it could even begin? Oh lord, how could you be so cruel? Are we going home now, Naruto-san? The dragon asked, not even noticing the tense atmosphere that surrounded Naruto, who nodded his head in a defeated fashion. Yes, and Renji? Yes. The now named Renji asked as Naruto hopped on his back. Remind me to teach you what common sense is later, okay? Okay. With that, the giant dragon flew while the devils in the area watched them in disbelief while working their magic as to not let the normal humans to see. Next time don't wait for me in that form. Why? It's nice and cute. Not at all. Fuck. Line end. It didn't take long for them to reach Naruto's penthouse. It was atop of the highest building in Kuo City. Naruto jumped off of Renji's back while the dragon transformed into a human. She has long silver hair that reached the ground with an ahoga atop her head that slings backwards. She has a pair of purplish crimson eyes. Her outfit consists of a black sailor uniform with red necktie and black skirt that reaches her ankles with slits on the left side. She wore a pair of black shoes and black socks. How was the ride, Naruto-san? Naruto deadpanned. My butt is numb. Naruto turned to her with a deadpan. Why are you so surprised? Your scales are too hard. Well, not even a holy sword can pierce it, Renji responded with dull tone. Naruto's eyebrow twitched. My butt is not an Excalibur, I'll be taking the bus next time. Renji looked horrified at the thought of Naruto not riding her back she meant, but she didn't mind being ride that way by Naruto though. Buses are slow. I won't accept this. At least my hair and clothes won't be ruffled that way, you're just way too fast. I can breath fire. I can fly. I can use magic, buses cannot do that, can't they? Renji explained, trying to reason with him and trying to show him how much better she is than a normal bus which was created by an intelligent life forms called humans, which is her species considered as bugs. Naruto shook his head as he removed his shoes after entering the penthouse and closing the door. He saw on a huge white couch in the middle while he removed the brown suit. Buses don't need to do that. By this point, Renji was practically pulling her hairs out in desperation. But dragon riders are cool. Naruto rolled his eyes. What's with the sudden change of job? I heard that dragon riders has weak defense. Renji fell to her knees as her world completely shattered, too overcome in depression to even go on. As I become completely useless now, her shoulder trembles as she dramatically cried on a corner. Naruto sighed in irritation as he pinched the bridge of his nose. Alright, fine. I'll ride you once in a while," said Naruto, not even caring the sexual innuendo. Renj turned to him so fast he was surprised she didn't broke her neck. "Really 3?" she exclaimed with a wide smile, while her tongue took the shape of a heart. "So? What's for lunch?" Renj immediately stood up and ran towards the kitchen. He heard some shuffling from inside the kitchen, then he heard something akin to a meat being sliced in half. Ding. An animated bell rings as Renj came out of the kitchen with a plate with a well-cooked meat in there. "What is that?" "My grilled tail." Naruto's eyes turned dull. "Why your tail? Couldn't you just cook some regular meat? We still have some in the fridge." Renj put both her hands on her cheeks as she fidgeted with a blush on her cheeks. "I want you to eat my tail so that even if you are far away we'd still be together physically." "That's too extreme," Naruto exclaimed with a vein on his forehead throbbing. He turned back to the meat and stared at it before his eyes turned completely lifeless. "No good, eh? I said no good. If you think it logically you will realize that it is no good. I'm a very picky eater." Renj smirked smugly at him, "Cheeky brat. It can't be helped, what would you do if I'm not here with you?" "Actually I would be better off without you," but he didn't say it knowing that it would hurt Renj's feelings. Naruto followed her inside the kitchen. "You know, you shouldn't be a picky eater." "I'm not a picky eater. After all, I even went through the trouble of removing the poison and the radiation from it." "It's poisonous radiation, what is that, a biological weapon?" Naruto's refined features turned into that of an Oni due to the raging emotions and several veins throbbing on his forehead with his teeth taking the form of shark fangs. "You don't like eggs and vegetables too, right?" Naruto looked away with an embarrassed look. "Even you must have something that you didn't like, right?" Renj blinks before she turned to him. "I don't like meat without bones. My pet Ozzy Dahaka was beaten to death by one." "That sounds terrifying." "Then what do you love?" "Naruto-san." Renj responded with a cheerful smile, a smile that doesn't fit her delinquent image. Naruto's cheeks turns pink due to the sudden confession. "Then are you going to eat me?" Renj nodded her head enthusiastically. "Seriously? No. Not like that, but in a sexual way. If it is Naruto-san, then you can ride me anytime you want." Naruto didn't know what to say, that was too much even for him. The words that kept coming out of this little girl's mouth is something that would surely get him arrested once the authorities got notified. "By the way, Naruto-san." Naruto asked while eating some instant ramen he made, wondering why she suddenly become so bashful and uncertain. "Why don't you want to ride me when going outside?" Naruto stared at her, seeing the look on her face before sighing. "It's not because my butt would end up becoming numb, but because it would stand out." "Stand out?" Naruto nodded. "Yes, unlike back then during your time. It is not normal for a dragon to suddenly appears, to normal humans you are nothing but a myth, a work of art and fiction. What do you think would they do if they found out that dragons are real? There would be a panic and they would hunt you. Then I'll beat them if they do." Renj responded confidently. Naruto sighed, she didn't quite understand it. "I have no doubt that you can do that. But if you do that, the other factions might find out that you are unsealed and they might try to find a way to seal you away. If that happened you and I would be separated." Renj looked horrified at the prospect of being separated from him for eternity. Naruto turned to him and her cheeks turned red when she saw those passionate eyes looking at her just like back then. "And I do not want that, losing you is the last thing that I would want to happen." The small pink on her cheeks turned into a full body blush. "Hey, alright. I'll be careful from now on then." Naruto smiled at her determined looks. "That's good. Anyway Renj, you're strong, right?" Renj nodded. "Strong enough to bring an end to this world. Don't. They didn't call her the most powerful being in existence for nothing. After all, it would take both Ophis and Great Red to at least have a slim chance of defeating her." "Why did you ask though?" Renj tilted her head. "But those devils in Kuo knowing about me housing a dragon, they will probably send some people to kill me or make me hand you to them. So I want you to stay on guard here and guard my house while I'm asleep in case they try something." He's a heavy sleeper, so he might not wake up if someone entered his house, unless they showered him with a heavy dose of killing intent, then that would surely wake him up. Renj pumped her fist. "Understood. Leave it to me." "How very simple," thought Naruto with a hidden smirk. He stood up after drinking water and proceeded to head to the couch. It was only 12 in the afternoon, so it's still early. Tap 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 tap. Naruto glanced at Renj and watched as she ran towards the back to the laundry. Narrowing his eyes, he stood up and decided to follow her quietly. With Renj smiles as she took care of the laundry while reminiscing about how she first met Naruto. Renj, as she was known as Trihixa, was born due to the endless use of magic by all kinds of beings. Because of it she was born with a never-ending amount and supply of magic. A magic that she cannot control which took the lives of the people around her. Because of this, she has been dubbed as the personification of all evil. Despite the hurt, Trihixa still tried to control her powers to no avail. Until one day, God had arrived and fought her, calling her such hurtful names before sealing her away in a realm where no one could enter. For thousands of years she has been waiting for someone to come and unseal her, she didn't know how long it has been, but after tens of thousands of years, she finally lost all hope of being free. Until one day a little boy accidentally managed to enter the realm where she was kept sealed, the boy unlike any other had talked to her without a hint of fear. Even though he told him who she is and told him all the evil things she did, the boy didn't show any fear and anger at her. The boy kept looking at her with compassion and said those words that managed to warm her cold heart, "Why should I blame you for something out of your control? I don't care if you are this so-called personification of evil, or that your power took the life of those precious to you. I am not afraid of you, so will you become my friend?" She didn't know how or why, but the boy managed to remove the seal, keeping her inside there. But even though the seal has been removed, she was still trapped inside the boundary between the world and the gap. She told the boy, who had become her friend for a short time, that when he leaves the boundary, he would forget their encounter due to God's magic that prevents anyone from pinpointing the location of where she is to keep them away from unsealing her. The boy promised to never forget about her as she is his very first friend. Fearful, Trihixa sent the boy away, knowing that even though he promised he wouldn't remember her. And then the boy left and she was left lonely once again, but after a few years the seal that held the realm where she was currently in got shattered and she was released. Wondering who released her, she was surprised to find that Naruto, the boy that she befriended, was the one who released her by destroying the shrine that keeps as the bridge to where she was in. And to her utter joy, the boy completely remembered her. He might not remember her name, but the boy completely remembers his encounter with her and his promise to always be his friend. Since then she has always been by his side. For some reason, Naruto was able to enter the boundary between the gap and world where Trihixa was sealed. There the so-called evil Trihixa was sealed, but in reality the gods only misunderstood her because of the fact that she has endless power that she couldn't control, which caused the death of the people around her. As such, she was perceived as evil. Because of this, she has been sealed with a 1,000 seal pattern by God, but for some reason Naruto managed to enter the realm where she was sealed and broken her from her seal and offered to be her friend while telling her that he wasn't afraid of her. Trihixa told him that he won't remember his encounter with her because once he left the boundary, his memory would be erased as to prevent anybody from being able to pinpoint the location. Naruto promised that he would not forget his encounter with her. A few days later she managed to escape the boundary and decided to test Naruto, and to her utter and welcome surprise, Naruto still remembered her. He might not remember her name, but as promised he still remembers his encounter with her. Since then she decided to stay with him. Pack. The sound of cloth being shake. She was currently holding a now dry shirt of Naruto. Though the scent of Naruto scent still lingers in this shirt, her cheeks turned red as she licks a small part of the shirt. Naruto scents taste. She mutters blissfully, not aware of the fact that Naruto was right behind her staring at her, scandalized. Renj stiffened as she slowly craned her neck towards Naruto. Why yes. She didn't like the tone of that voice. Take a sit. Renj immediately did so while Naruto was standing in front of her with his arms crossed. Renj, I appreciate you trying to help with housework, but licking my clothes is. Would you prefer being licked directly? Where do you want me to lick you? I don't mind. Renj responded with a straight face. How exactly did you wash my clothes? Naruto asked with a twitching eyebrow. Renj rubbed her head. First I took off everything inside the pockets, then wash it differently, taking mind what detergents to use. Naruto nodded, so far she's doing a good job. Then the silk fabrics was mouth washed. What? Naruto screeched. When I am in my dragon form, my saliva contains enzymes that dissolves dirt and stains, and with my mouth and tongue being incredible warm due to me being a dragon, the cloth will be dried already when I spat it out. That's gross. Her face turned red as a twist in a perverted look with her tongue hanging out with saliva dripping down. Then how about doing I like this? She was just about to start licking the cloth when Naruto smacked her on the head. That's even worse. Naruto sighed. Seriously, the girl would be the end of him. Just do it normally, I'll be going outside to pick something up. Not like he could say that he would meet with a girl, she'll definitely flip. Renji's face darkened. Are you going to meet a girl? How did you come into that conclusion? Asked Naruto with a twitching eyebrow. I just feel it. Renj responded with a dark smile as she started fantasizing about murdering an unknown faceless girl. No, I am not meeting a girl. Just go and dry the laundry, said Naruto before he proceeded to head out. It took a few minutes before Renj realized that Naruto was already gone and snapped out of her murder fantasy. Standing up, she walks towards the veranda and saw the sky completely black with lightning flashing in the sky. The laundries wouldn't dry in this kind of weather. But Naruto froze before he gapes when he saw a giant red beam coming out of his penthouse a few meters away. In the distance he could see a giant black dragon standing atop the building, with the red beam firing out of its mouth which clears the sky. That show off, Naruto muttered, she's overdoing it. With Renj, yes. It's dry. Take that, you stupid rain, run back to your motherfucker. She pumped her fist as she started folding the now dried clothes. She looks down at Naruto's boxers. He said not to lick it, but smelling should be fine. She pressed her nose on the boxers. 3. The daily life of the apocalypse dragon. Yep. Beep was the sound that came out of a small bird alarm clock. NGNNNN. Naruto groaned as he covered eyes with his arms. It was only 6 a.m. and it's only Sunday. He was too sleepy to notice that there is another bulge on his bed being covered by his blanket, and for some reason there is something very warm wrapped around his bare body. Unnoticed by him, a tick mark formed on his alarm clock as it got split in half as a large bird the size of a house cat emerged with its beak pointed at Naruto's forehead and gleaming due to how sharp it was. Poke. Number. $%. Dollar. $. Naruto let out a muffled scream and a series of curses due to the sudden pain of being stabbed in the forehead. This must be Renji's handiwork. When I get my hands on her. Naruto raged inside his mind as he held his throbbing head and to stop the flowing of blood. His rage immediately left him when he noticed something moving besides. Gulping, he slowly removed the blanket and was greeted at the sight of a naked Renji sleeping peacefully. She was so cute that he might felt bad if he wake her up. Pack. Bua. Naruto chopped her right in the neck, surprising her as her eyes bulge out in surprise. What are you doing in my bed? Naruto screamed as his rage came back full force. Renji coughed out for a bit and when she got her bearing back, she sat in a seiza while smiling brightly at him. Sleeping. Pack. Fuck. Renji screamed when Naruto chopped her again, this time right on the bridge of her nose. That hurts. I know that. Let me rephrase my question, why are you sleeping on my bed when you have your own room? Asked Naruto as his eyebrow twitched. But it's cold. Then why are you naked? Because you're warm. You don't make sense at all. Naruto pinched the bridge of his nose, so early in the morning yet it's already like this. It's one of the reasons why he chose the highest location despite it being expensive, so that he wouldn't have any neighbors. By the way, did you do something to my alarm clock? Renji nodded enthusiastically. Yes. I upgraded it. For what reason? Naruto gritted out through his teeth. It's a sensor, if a girl scream which isn't me, then I would know that you're bringing a woman home. Of course I wouldn't be able to hurt you because I will never do that, but if it's a girl then. Naruto blanched when he saw the smile full of bloodlust on her face. Ugh, you really are impossible, what would you do to the girl then? Then I will use my ultimate 1000 ways of killing a skank technique. Renji bragged with a bright smile on her face. It was a technique she developed and improved throughout the years. That sounds way too dangerous. Naruto deadpanned, he didn't want to ask. It was too early for his mind to shut down and he has just woken up, he's not interested to hear about her gruesome plans on murdering some poor faceless girl. Naruto blinks when he noticed something that he should have noticed earlier. His nipples are bare and it's wet. Too afraid to ask, Naruto turned to look at Renji who noticed his look and immediately connected the dots. Oh that. Renji smiled brilliantly at him. I heard women love sucking their beloved milks, so I tried sucking yours, but there is no milk that came out. She finished with a disappointed frown. Naruto gaped before he slapped her on the head with vein throbbing on his forehead. That is a different kind of milk, you idiot. Naruto screamed in embarrassed rage, and only babies sucks on tits. And not on a man's but a woman. Renji's eyes flashed dangerously as she looked away and spat in a mocking manner. Don't you understand, Naruto-san? A man's nipples is every woman's house of hopes and dreams. Apologize to every woman on this planet right this instant. The vein popped on Naruto's forehead. She's getting on my nerves, he thought. It's only 6:30 a.m. and he's already stressed out. By the way, why is the heater off? Naruto asked, now noticing how cold it is due to the heater being turned off. I turned it off. Renji's blunt reply. Why? I don't trust it. I don't really want to ask, but why? He's seriously starting to have a headache now. If this goes on he might end up with a migraine. It lacks firepower. It used heat, not flames. You are the one who lacks something. Eh? What do I lack? Renji tilted her head in confusion while Naruto deadpanned. You lack a brain. Renji laughed cheerfully. Hahaha, that isn't true, Naruto-san, I have a brain. And what is inside your brain? UJ. Naruto didn't know what to answer to that. She responded too quickly for him to make a comeback. He palms his face before he started standing up. That dress, we'll go shopping. Okay. Renji jumped down and ran towards her room while butt naked. Sometimes I do not know if she's a kid or just really stupid. Line break. Naruto and Renji walked the streets of Kuo heading straight towards the shopping district. By the way, Renji, why don't you want to go to the department store? Asked Naruto, taking notice of the pedestrians looking at them. The girls was looking at him with blushes while the other looks at Renji and commenting on how cute she is, while Renji grimaced. Thankfully she didn't notice how the girls looks at him or else they'll be in trouble. Too late. What are you looking at? Renji asked before her voice distorted as she transforms into a giant beast. It looks like a giant manticore. She has many forms after all, but usually took the form of a dragon. Due to the intense killing intent, the people around them dropped like sack of potatoes completely unconscious. Naruto's met his forehead which hides the tick mark forming on it. He made sure to cast a memory erasing spell as to not alert the people of the presence of the supernaturals. Renj, I told you not to transform in a crowded place, right? Naruto gritted out while rubbing his face, while Renj bashfully bopped her head in embarrassment after turning back into her human form. Opsy. Anyway. Naruto shook his head as he started walking again. He didn't want to dwell too much into it. Why didn't you want to go to department store? It was made of marbles. What's so bad about that? Well, I find it unsettling because it resembles a castle. Huh? Naruto asked dumbly. Those white colorings. Her eyes turned dull. It reminded me of that place where I had been sealed. Oh? And the shopping district is alright with you? Renj nodded her head. It was just like a bazaar or a festival. It would also be better if the shop owners are also dragons disguising as humans. You have very high standards, huh? Naruto, lifeless blue eyes due to talking to Renj, since it was too depressing to talk to her, saw the signboard of the stall where he usually bought meats. We should buy some meat first. Why? You can eat my tail anytime you want. No thanks. Why? It's bitter. Fuck. Naruto shook his head as he stepped inside the stall. Oh, Naruto-kun. An old woman appeared and smiled as she saw Naruto standing on her stall. Renj immediately grabbed the collar of the old woman and brought her face to face with her eyes turning into slits. Why are you calling him like that? What is your relationship with him? Could it be? She turned to Naruto with her eyes full of betrayal. Are you having an affair with her? Are you into old people? Idiot. Naruto slapped her on the head. Oh, why the hell would I have an affair with her? At least choose someone my age. Renj's eyes darkened. So does it means you're having an affair with a younger woman? Naruto's fingers twitched as sweat started pouring down his neck. Oh, of course not. There is a slight hesitance in your voice. Was it because you are hiding something? The look in her eyes is so intense that he thought he would lose his bladder. You're always with me, right? So you'll know when I do something like that. Renj nodded her head with a look of realization. That's right. The old woman chuckled while Naruto sighed in relief. Is she a friend of yours? No, I'm his slave. The old woman smiled as she turned to Naruto. Don't look at me with such pity, it will make me cry. No, seriously, don't look at me like that. Naruto begged as he held his head in his arms, looking about ready to cry at the pain and embarrassment that Renj was bringing him and the damage that those looks was inflicting him. She's my cousin who has an 8th grade syndrome and thinks of me as a vampire with her being my familiar. Oh. I see, Fufuf, how very cute. Very well then. I shall give you some freebies. Naruto smiled gratefully as he paid the old woman while she gave him the ordered meat and some free vegetables. He didn't like eating vegetables, but it would be rude of him to not accept it. Once they are outside and a few yards away from the meat stall, Naruto turned to Renj. You look like you're close with her. She gave us freebies because of you. I don't know her. Her eyes widened as she smiled darkly. I just act friendly with them, and when they let their guard down, that's where I strike. Your past is that sad, huh? Ah, Renj-chan. What is it that you want? I'll give you an extra. The man who managed the fish stall called out to them, while Naruto turned to Renj in confusion. His look says, how did you know all these people? Renj smiled brilliantly at him. Oh, his shops was being raided by some bugs a few days ago, and I squashed them for him. I don't know who they are, but I feel bad for them. Thought Naruto. Oh, hello there, Renj-chan. How are you this fine day? What in the world? Thought Naruto as he saw Renj being greeted by a different kind of people. Nego. Are you shopping? A group of delinquents asked while they surrounded Renj. Just what does she do when I am away? Thought Naruto. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. She says some harsh things and looks down at humans, but she's getting along so well with them, I guess she doesn't really hate them. She's just misunderstood, huh? It's kind of pretty sad if you think about it. Naruto watched as she smile and converse with all those people with his eyes softening. She comes a long way since the day I met her. She had thousands of spikes with seals littering her body, and she looks really lonely. I do not want to ask because I know it was a sour wound for her, but I am so glad to see her smiling like this. Thought Naruto as he watched her interaction with other people. I'm back, Naruto san. Naruto smiled as she ran towards him with a bright smile on her face. Hey Renj. I was thinking of eating outside. What would you like to eat? Renj turned to him so fast that he heard her head snapped. Does it mean we're going on a date? That date those humans loves to talk about. Naruto nodded with a grin while she grins back at him. Drip. Something wet dripped down on the ground. It was Renj's saliva. Spare ribs. Okay, let's go. The two of them started walking towards the nearest restaurant with Naruto grabbing her hand. Your hand, Naruto-san. Renj looks flustered. Want to hold it for a bit longer? Renj stared at his face before a bright smile graced her face. Yes. I'm not washing this hands. It doesn't matter what past Renj has, to him what is important is the now. Naruto and Renj had just gotten home after buying some cakes, and they are currently getting ready to eat it. Naruto sat in a chair with the cake on the table with Renj sitting in front of him with drool leaking down her lips. Naruto decided to test the taste of the cake with strawberry on top. He cut it using a fork and put it on his mouth. Strawberries on top of cakes is surprisingly good. It's completely different than eating just a plain strawberry cake. Ranj nodded her head with her hands in her chin. Indeed, did you know? Since ancient times that allure has caused many fierce conflict. That's some pretty sad history. Unable to understand the meaning of her words, Naruto gave a blank look. Ranj nodded her head. It's pretty rare back then, so it's pretty thought when there is not enough for everyone to share. Wait. You're serious? Naruto asked in disbelief while Ranj nodded. Just what the hell is wrong with history? Must be why they never taught it in schools. After that the both of them started eating the cakes and it didn't take them long to finish devouring it due to them being sweets lovers. Thanks for the food. Naruto sighed out in bliss. UWAAH, I'm so happy I got eat so many cakes. Ranj moaned in bliss while Naruto smiled. No wonder girls love dreaming about houses and castles made of candies and cakes. Commented Naruto while Ranj shook her head. Nope, that's not what I want. Then what is it that you want? Ranj smiled blissfully. I want to live in a house made of meat. The visual. Mind the visual. That gave him the shivers. The thought of a house made of meat, even if its cook made his body shook in disgust. It would be greasy and disgusting. Ranj's eye turned deadly and she turned to stare at the door at the entrance. Naruto blinks in confusion, wondering why she suddenly got wary. Is something wrong, Ranj? It's here. Boo. Ouroboros dragon. Ophis. Naruto stood up in surprise when he heard that name. Of course he's aware of that name. Anybody who is aware of the supernatural knew about that name. Gulping, Naruto started walking towards the door. Naruto-san, Ranj called out in surprise while Naruto waved her off. Don't do something stupid, let's hear what Ophis wants. I really didn't want to fight the Ouroboros dragon, especially in a crowded place like Kuo. If it comes to a fight, can you bring her to the gap and fight her there? But, no buts, please do this for me. Okay. Please. Ranj reluctantly nodded her while clicking her tongue. After this you and I will talk about why you have so many people with small bodies like mine getting interested in you. Huh? Naruto muttered dumbly as he left the kitchen with Ranj watching him with her eyebrows twitching. For some reason he's attracting a lot of attention, especially from little girls. He felt a slight chill on his back. The image of a demonic peeking over Ranj's shoulder must have been his imagination, though. Ding dong with Naruto. When Naruto opened the door and what greeted him was a sight he never in his whole life expected. Instead of a giant scary looking dragon thing, the one standing in front of her was a girl. A small cute little girl the same shape and size as Ranj. She has long raven black hair down until her hips and a pair of gray eyes. Her ears, unlike a normal human, is a bit different as they have pointed tips, although her long black hair makes it hard to notice. She wore a black gothic Lolita clothing. She was currently staring at him with those blank eyes of hers. You are Naruto Namikaze. Naruto nodded his head. Yes, and who might you be? I am Off. What are you doing here, you shitty dragon? A voice asked from behind Naruto as his jaw dropped. Ophis turned to look at the person behind Naruto. For a split second there he was sure he saw a flash of emotions, but it disappeared so fast that he wasn't sure if he only imagined it or not. Ophis turned to him. How are you related to this person? Naruto scratched his head while sending Ranj, who was standing behind him with her arms crossed, with a glare. I don't really want to believe it, but she's akin to and companions to me. Surely you jest, I am your servant. Stop joking. Responded Ranj with a radiant smile. See, Ophis muttered without showing a hint of emotion. Please come in. Naruto invited as Ophis silently walked past Naruto straight to the couch while Ranj's cold eyes followed her. So you're still alive, huh? What are you doing here? Ranj demanded while looking down at the not sitting form of Ophis. My business isn't with you, Ophis responded in monotone. I heard that you were supposed to be sealed. There's nothing in this world that could hold me. Ranj responded while Naruto watched them from the sidelines. Unless the one who holds me is Naruto-san, I wouldn't mind even if he bends me and take me from behind. She finished with a perverted smile. Ugh. Naruto groaned as his palm met his forehead. Ophis narrowed her eyes in nostalgia. You are still uncouth, like always. Ranj narrowed her eyes. Excuse me. Blood-red aura started seeping out of Ranj, while Ophis responded in kind, with black snakes coming out of her sleeves hissing as black miasma came out of her body. Bang. Before anyone realized it, Naruto, who had been behind Ranj, performed a German suplex on her. The scene of a loli having her cranium smashed into the ground was then completed. A large amount of blood came out of Ranj's head. As her body fell down on the ground in a comical heap as her soul came out of her mouth. Calm down, will you? You didn't have to do that. There is another option to calm me down, Ranj said with a groan. What is the other option then? A kiss. Oh, I'm glad I chose that one then. So mean. Naruto smirked darkly at her, at least she calmed down. Namikaze, I have a demon. Just as Ophis was about to say that, she felt a threatening gaze from Ranj. Could you repeat that? Ranj hissed out. I have a request. Renj nodded, she wouldn't let anyone demand anything from Naruto. It would be a bloodbath if they do so. Request. Naruto asked as sat on the chair in front of Ophis while Renj stood beside him. Ophis nodded. I want you to drive Great Red out of my home, the Gap. Naruto furrowed his brow, Great Red. The strongest being in existence, the one recognized as the strongest being because everyone believes that Trahexa was still sealed. He didn't quite understand her. He was about to answer her when Renj cut him off. And why would he do that? Are you stupid? Do you think Naruto-san has what it takes to kill that overgrown lizard? I do not know what the hell happened to you during all those years, but I never thought you would become delusion. Responded Renj with her eyes narrowed and teeth gritted. She knows Naruto, he's strong, but not strong enough to fight such a being like Great Red, perhaps if he used the power that she gave him, but it would also endanger his life. He won't age because of her power, but it doesn't make her indestructible, he could still die, provided you have the means of atomizing his body, and Great Red sure has a lot of ways to do so. Naruto felt insulted, but he knew that he didn't stand a chance against Great Red, and he knew that Renj was only saying those to protect him and prevent him from doing something that would endanger his life. I will lend him my powers. Ophis responded nonchalantly while Renj gritted her teeth. You're still the same selfish little dragon I met back then, huh, and why are you taking that form anyway? You used to be an old man, right? Ophis turned to Naruto. I heard that Naruto loves little girls, so I took this form so that he will love me and kill Baka Red for me. Naruto broke down into sweat when Renji's sharp eyes immediately turned towards him. What is the meaning of this, Naruto-san? Are you cheating on me? Naruto shudders when he tastes the venom from her words. Don't make this worse. I have no idea. I don't know what she was talking about. I heard people say that you will always go on a date with a little girl when you were in Romania. You shut up. Naruto commanded to Ophis, she's putting him in trouble. Ain't someone dared to date you before I could? You idiot. She was talking about you. Renj blinked in surprise. Me? Yes. Naruto nodded his head hurriedly. You're the only one I'm always with. So that means that earlier wasn't our first date? Renj asked as her cheeks turning red as her hands went to her cheeks. She's so simple. Thought Naruto as he sighed in relief. My offer? Asked Ophis. Naruto turned towards her while scratching his head. No, he won't do it. That's insane, and I will not do it for you. Do it yourself. Renj waved her away as she started doing a shooing motion with her hands. Very well, I shall stay here until you accept then. Eh? Naruto blinks while Renj's jaw dropped. Ooh. Line break. The holy swords, weapons infused with so much holy powers, and was said to be the most effective weapon to use when battling against devils, as even the ultimate class devils wasn't safe from its power, and as such it was considered as the ultimate weapons against devils. There are two kinds of holy swords in existence. The first type of holy swords are those that has been mass-produced light swords used by exorcise to exorcise devils. It was a sword made from pure light and was considered as the basic out of two types. The second type was what was called the true holy swords, which was wielded by the legendary heroes, such as Excalibur and Durandal. Unlike the normal light swords, true holy swords requires humans with high amounts of light element inside their body in order to wield them, as such only a few people in a decade or so could get chosen. Because of this, the devils realize that they are in disadvantage due to the fallen angels not being weak to the holy swords and could freely wield one just like an angel. Which is why, the very first Lucifer decided to gather the most powerful blacksmith in the devil world and the captured angels and fallen angels. He tasked a blacksmith to create the most powerful blade, imbued with the holy power of the capture angels and fallen angels, which created a new kind of energy due to the mixing of both holy and demonic power. Because of this, a new type of energy appeared that has been completely proven lethal to angels and devils. Lucifer first used it against God, and God, realizing how dangerous the weapon is, took it from Lucifer and sealed it away in a realm that no one would be able to enter. He used a very powerful seal as to prevent the others from finding it. For thousands of years all three major factions and the other factions compete with each other in finding the sword, but no one of them could ever find it. And even if they find it, they would never be able to remove it from where it was embedded, as God used the spirit of his most powerful angel to hold the seal and merge the sword into the body of that angel. By reciting the name of that angel, only the sword would be drawn. And the one to draw it will be its master forever. The name of the angel remained unknown, but everyone knew that the angel was one if not the most powerful angel, second only to God. Nobody knew its name, but Lucifer named the sword the Divine Slaying Blade. Unknown location. Sitting on a throne was a man who looks to be on his late 20s. He has a black hair with golden bangs and black goatee. His outfit consists of a red coat with the chest being open, showing his chest, accompanied by black pants and brown shoes. Shemhazai, is this true? Asked the man in a moment of seriousness while a man who was named Shemhazai nodded. He has pale black hair with a pair of green eyes, he looks to be on his early 20s wearing a lab coat and a white button shirt underneath with white pants and black dress shoes. As much as I would love to believe it isn't, it is true. Some of our kind already deserted us to join the Cows Brigade, with Kakabia leading them. Azazel nodded grimly, he didn't like it when there is a dispute within his faction, but there is no helping it as he wanted peace between all the factions while the other wants war. I know that what I am asking is if the information about the sword is real. Shemhazai nodded. It is as real as it can get. The divine slaying sword has been found and it was at the center of Kuo. But no one could enter the shrine where it was located. I see Azazel nodded before he stood up and started walking away. Where are you going? Shemhazai asked despite knowing the answer. Azazel paused mid-step before he started walking away. The Kuo, I want to see it for myself and I also want to confirm it myself. If she's there then there must be a reason why, she could be after the sword or something, or somebody caught her attention enough to make her come herself. But that Azazel exited the throne room with a grim look on his face. What are you up to? Ouroboros dragon. Hi, who is that? He's so handsome. Look over here. Damn it. Curse you pretty boy. All the girls wearing the female Kuo Academy uniform was staring at the entrance of the school with their eyes literally taking the shape of a heart while the boys was crying blood while muttering curses under their breath. The main focus of attention was a handsome blonde-hair blue-eyes boy who has a refined feature of royalty. He wore the standard male uniform of Kuo Academy, which consists of a black blazer with white accents over a white long-sleeved dress shirt with a black ribbon on the collar, matching black pants and brown dress shoes. On his left shoulder which was being held under his armpit was his blue standard-issued school bag, and on his hand was a white plastic bag with candies and different kinds of sweets inside. What? He has a sweet tooth, considering that all his life all that he ate was from garbage so that he could survive. This is troublesome. He muttered under his breath while sighing in despair, he should have expected this outcome. Even in his last school the reactions of the female and male population was exactly the same, he even gained the epithet the man who was confessed 1,000 times but didn't date anyone. Having troubles? A monotone voice asked from behind. Naruto has already sensed the person behind him, which is why he didn't react to surprise, and the person behind him choked it up as to him being too overwhelmed to be surprised. From the corner of his eyes he saw a small petite girl who looks to be of age 15, she has pure white hair with a pair of hazel eyes. The front of her hair has 2 long bangs going past her shoulders and several loose bangs hanging over her forehead, while the back has a short bob cut. She also wears a black cat-shaped hair clip on both sides of her hair. Her outfit consists of the female Kuo Academy uniform female version, but without the shoulder cape. She looks quite cute, like a puppy or a small kitten. With Renge who was currently sniffing watching the new show Idolmaster Cinderella Girls, suddenly stiffened with her hug shuddering, as if it has been hit by a thunderbolt. My Naruto lowly radar is going crazy. Back to Naruto. She was speaking to him, but he could see that instead of looking at him, her sight was directed to the sweets that he has on his hand. Transfer? The girl asked in monotone that reminded him of Ophis. Yeah, second year. Responded Naruto as he walked along with her. Namikaze, Naruto Namikaze. Kaneko. Kaneko Taoju. The girl introduced herself as she walks beside him. Seeing the looks the boy was getting she glanced at him, you sure do attract a lot of attention, it looks like they are all gathering around you. Naruto grimaced when he saw the true it is, they are really gathering around him as they surrounded them while murmuring. That bastard. What is he doing with Kaneko-chan? Bastard. Go to hell. They are currently walking the hallway and yet the crowd still hasn't thinned out, in fact it only grew larger. He ignored it and continued his walk with Kaneko behind him, he passed by a certain big-breasted redhead. For a second their eyes locked one another before he looked away and started walking away, he ignored the slight nod she gave Kaneko who was walking behind him. UWAHH, he's so TREAMY, he looks UNREACHABLE. He gives off a very mature feeling not the same as Kiba KUN. Naruto turned towards the whispering and gushing girls. Please take care of me. Said Naruto blankly before his eyes turns dull when the girls screamed out in shock I can talk you know. I'm starting to regret coming here. Thought Naruto with a look of irritation on his face, but due to them being too blinded by his looks, they didn't notice the flash of irritation on his eyes. He could still remember when he was still in middle school. Naruto Private Middle School Romania. Naruto, a 14 years old short blonde hair boy with a pair of cerulean blue eyes, he wore a black blazer with white button-up undershirt with red necktie, black pants with yellow accents and black shoes. I'm so tired. He muttered as she started walking towards his locker. Once in front he opened it and sighed when a bunch of love letters filled his locker that his shoes wasn't even visible anymore. Slamming the locker close, he turned around and decided to head home with his school shoes currently on. His face twisted into that of irritation when he got out of the exit and immediately bombarded with screams of adoration and proclamations of love. There outside the gate of the school being prevented by the guards from coming in was a horde of female students, ranging from elementary to middle school and high school. There were even college students there holding banners with his name, accompanied with the symbol of hearts. So annoying. He grunted in irritation as one of the guards motions for him to enter the car that was currently parked besides the guard station. It was there for his exclusive use, as the school knew that he won't be able to come home with such huge crowds waiting for him, so they provided a car for him to use with the driver being a school stuff. This was a private school for males, which is why he chose this school, because it was the only safe haven he have due to females not being allowed to enter the school, unless they are staff or relatives of the students in there. He really wish he could get a dorm, but it was currently full, so he was forced to commute until the school board decided to save him the trouble by providing the private car. There is no point of going into an all-male school if it's like this. Naruto muttered as she sighed yet again, why does he have to live like this? I'll be moving to Japan, I hope it's different there. He thought. Oh, how wrong he was. Flashback end. Naruto stopped in front of his classroom and noticed Kaneko still standing beside him. There, what is it? Kaneko merely looked at the sweets in his hand. Blinking, Naruto lifted the bag of sweets in his hand in front of Kaneko and watched as she followed each movement with her head. A bead of sweat trailed down on the back of his head. There, you want this? Kaneko nodded her head. Sighing, he held it in front of her face. Here, you can have it. Kaneko immediately snatched it before walking away. She stopped for a bit before turning to him, she nodded at him before she walks away again. Some time later, standing in front of the class was a woman who looks to be of age 12 or 13, she has whitish light blue hair with golden eyes. Her outfit seems to be of a professor's uniform, due to her being a teacher. Good morning to you everyone, I hope that all of you are satisfied of your vacations because this will be a new long year. You all might be wondering, but the last Professor Yamato-san has been caught doing an illegal act and was consequently fired, as such they hired a new professor. I am that professor. I know you are all wondering how a child could become a professor, but I will tell you now. I might look like this, but I am currently 23 years old now. Yeah? All the males in the vicinity screamed out in shock. A loli. A real loli appeared. A bald student exclaimed with a perverted grin on his face. Silence. The teacher exclaimed with a smile on her face, but despite the warm smile on her face, her eyes give the appearance of a tiger ready to pounce, which made every one of them shut their mouths. Good, my name is Ariel, and from now on I will be your new homeroom teacher. She smiled maturely while a tick formed on her forehead. And girls, she began as her smile widened to epic proportions, as the room temperature dropped down to 0 levels, look towards the front of the classroom. And you girls returned to your respective rooms. It was true, instead of looking at their teacher, all the girls inside the classroom along with the other girls from other rooms standing on the hallways was staring at Naruto, who was sitting in the back. AHHH so DREAMY. My panty is so WET. Such ICANDY. Naruto looked towards the sky. I blame you for this. He thought before looking towards the front. Line break. Kuo Shrine. At the center of Kuo, where the shrine of the divine slaying blade could be found, an unknown person could be seen entering the shrine. When the man entered the shrine, he was surprised at the fact that instead of the room being made of wood, the inside of the shrine looked to be of another world, as their sky is blue with several small rocky mountains covered by sea, and it was so vast that he wonders how it fitted inside. Then he realized that the inside of the shrine is another dimension. There in the middle of the sea surrounded by water was a stone platform with a silver stone altar. There embedded on the altar was a very beautiful, magnificent, dazzling sword. Its blade is a beautiful shade of silver that reflected the water in the lake as it held a beautiful shine into it. It has a beautiful turquoise and golden trimmings, along with a golden hilt and a cross guard. The hilt of the sword has a beautiful turquoise gem on it. The man released a savage grin. So this is it, huh? Heh, looks like I will become your new master. The man started walking towards the altar, not caring at the fact that his clothes was getting wet because of him being submerged in the water. He didn't fly because he didn't want for his magnificent wings to be wet. Don't even think about it, it won't work. The man turned towards the source of the voice and saw a strange man wearing a complete set of white armor with golden accents in it. He was floating in the air with his arms crossed. The man scoffed as he ignores the Iron Man wannabe and started walking towards the altar. Last warning. Stand back, turn around and leave. The man takes no heed of the warning, he's already in front of the sword anyway. A red and white blue circle, the 3 times the size of a person, appeared in front of the armor-wearing man. I warned you. Whoosh. The combined of fire and wind attack came out of the circle as the fire took the form of a dragon and the wind surrounding the dragon, with whirlwind making it more larger and dangerous. It went straight towards the other man before a huge explosion occurred once it collided. The attacker stayed afloat in the air as he watched the large smoke dissipate, and he wasn't really surprised to find his opponent still standing on the same platform unharmed. You want to fight, huh, guardian of the divine sword? If you do not want to fight, then leave, thief. The thief grins at him. Nope. A series of wooden dragon emerged out of the thief's back and headed straight towards the guardian. The wooden dragons flew straight at the guardian, while said guardian merely avoided it while spinning in the air, not even caring as one of them managed to devour him, but ended up exploding courtesy of the guardian. The thief clicked his tongue as another series of wooden dragons appears, but before he could fire it towards the guardian, a series of ice spikes appeared above him. Well shit. The man looked up and commanded his dragons to merge to form a shield. The dragon turned into a wooden dome that covered the thief and protected him from being harmed by the spikes. My turn. The dome shattered as the thief threw a black chain with spikes towards the guardian, who bends his body backwards to dodge. The spike returned back to its master, while guardian stood up and pointed his finger at the thief. Liberate. A blue particle appeared in his finger fire. At the command, the energy ball shot towards the thief at high speed, but not fast enough for the thief to not be able to dodge. He tilted his head, allowing the plasma to pass him before his eyes widened. Explode. Wukong. The plasma exploded in a shower of destructive particles, consuming the thief. When the explosion ended, the thief could be seen standing with a few trickle of sweat pouring down his body. You're good, but it's over for you. The thief conjured black flames on both of his hands, while the guardian shook his head. Yes, it is over. But not for me, but for you. The thief's eyes widened before he looked down just in time for the black magic circle underneath him enveloped him. Dissolve. And just as commanded, the magic circle dissolved along with the thief. The guardian didn't move or let his guard down for a second as he tried to get a feel of the thief. Once sure that the thief is dead, he turned back and started to float towards his earlier position, taking note of the singed walls and the shattered hills due to the explosions. They are getting desperate and the seal to the gate is weakening. Inside the armor, the guardian frowned. Chosen wielder of divine slaying sword, wherever you are. Hurry and come. He didn't notice the sword started glowing while a soft hums came out of it as if calling for somebody. With Naruto, sneeze. Namikaze-kun, is everything alright? Ariel asked her student worriedly while the girls inside the classroom along with the other girls from other class immediately swarmed Naruto. Are you alright, Naruto-kun? Are you sick? Do you want to go to the nurse office? The girls started firing questions after another, while Naruto merely waved his hands. No, thank you. I am fine. Replied Naruto. But somehow, he felt as if something is calling out to him. Oh well, must be his imaginations. The sky is so beautiful. Naruto muttered as he looks at the sky while listening to his teacher's lectures. He turned towards Ariel, who was writing on the board while stepping on a stool. He glanced back towards the window. Naruto almost had a heart attack when he saw Renja's face smashed on the glass window, with her purplish red eyes having red veins going through it as she stares at Naruto. What are you doing here? Naruto hissed out in a hush whisper, making sure that no one would see her by closing the curtain. I'm here to investigate why I shenched and Lilia wound ya earlier. Due to her face being mashed against the window, her voice and words are muffled. The hell are you taking about leave now? He hissed out with his face paling. If someone sees you're here, I'll be in trouble. You are in the 3rd floor. But you might cheat on me with another loli. Ophis is bad enough, not another one. The vein throbbed in Naruto's forehead. Just leave already. He exclaimed, earning the attention of his classmates and his teacher. Is something wrong, Namikaze-kun? Is my teaching bothering you? Ariel asked with a worried frown, making sure to keep her facade to not let Naruto know that she knew there was a person outside. Naruto looked around him as he closed the curtains before anybody could see Renj. He could see the look of worry on everyone's face, while Ariel has a worried knowing look on her face. The eye-males are glaring at him. Coughing in his hand, he smiled gently at them, adding a small tint of pink on his cheeks to make it more effective. Forgive me, dear classmates and Ariel-sensei, there is a bee and it is trying to distract me from listening to your lecture, sensei. He said with a smile while Ariel sighed in relief, keeping up with the act, while the female student sighed dreamily. Thank you for your concern, dear classmates. It's alright, Naruto-sama. Stupid bee trying to get Naruto-sama in trouble. I can take notes for you, Naruto-sama. The girls started gushing once again, while Naruto sighed in annoyance with a strained smile on his face. He could hear the glass behind him cracking and could sense a dark foreboding aura coming from outside. Sweat started pouring out of his head while his smile turned strained. He could practically feel Renja's killing intent. Taking out a paper, he started scribbling something before he showed it in front of the mirror. Not a minute later, the oppressing feeling disappeared along with Renja's presence, but now he could feel a faint, strange feeling of anticipation and bliss. He didn't want to do it, but she wouldn't leave unless he showed her that. What was written in the paper, you ask? Go home and wait. If you become a good girl and wait for me patiently at home, then I'll let you do anything you want with me, even the naked apron. Naked apron, Naruto muttered lowly under his breath, too low that almost no one heard it. Almost. Naked apron. The boy sitting in front of him immediately turned towards him, startling Naruto and everyone in the class. The boy has the look of an average Japanese boy with brown hair and a pair of light brown eyes. His outfit consists of a worn-out red shirt and black blazer, accompanied by blue pants and white running shoes. The boy's eyes was practically shining in excitement. Did you just say naked apron? Naruto leaned back in surprise while the girls was looking at them suspiciously while glaring at Issei. What are you playing at, you pervert? Are you accusing Naruto-sama being a pervert? Yeah. What the hell are you saying, blurting things like that? Forgive us, Naruto-sama, we didn't wish for you to meet this disgusting pervert. Hey. The boy shouted in dismay as he took it as an offense. Naruto waved his hands to calm them down. It's alright, calm down everyone. And please refrain from speaking to Haidu-san like that. I don't like peoples who mock others because of their hobby, even if it is perverted. I at least could admire that because he never hid the fact that he is a pervert and accepted it himself. Said Naruto with a smile while the girls looked at Naruto in admiration and awe. He's defending the pervert, but he. No, that's impossible. Naruto-sama is so kind. He's defending the pervert. That's right. Naruto-sama isn't a pervert. He's just too nice. Hiya. Issei and his other friends gnashed their teeth together. At first he was in awe of Naruto due to him defending him. But now he knows that Naruto only defended him to gain another points from the girl. Bastard. He turned to glare at Naruto, but the pretty boy merely smiled at him, gently as if he knows his pain. Truthfully, Naruto didn't, but he just gotten used to perverts since Renji is a massive one. He gained a very thick skin when it comes to dealing with perverts, as to not get in trouble. If you do not want to befriend them, then at least try to get along with them, since a pervert could plot and do something that would surely ruin your name. Okay everyone, class is not over yet, so please eat down. Ariel-sensei looked like a demon who just came out of hell, or do you want me to sit you myself? Everyone sat immediately due to the fear of their new lolly teacher. Unknown to Naruto, a reddish-brown-haired girl wearing spectacles was staring at him with a small smirk on her lips. 10 inches huh, fufu. I would love to have a taste of that. For some reason, Naruto felt as if his manhood is in danger and crossed his legs. Line break. Naked apron Naruto-sama in a naked apron Renji sang while giggling pervertedly with drool seeping out from her lips. She was bouncing up and down, and she walked down the streets of Kuo with a grocery bag in her hand, with unmentionable outrageous things inside. She just came out of an adult shop, she just bought things from the shop that she would ask Naruto to use for her, with a few kinky toys and such. Oh, she couldn't wait for the evening to see Ome, or even when Naruto came home, she'll greet him in his bed naked with only ribbons covering her nude sexy body as a gift for him. I can't wait, we'll do this, and thato I'll clean my body thoroughly for himfuehe. Her cheeks turns red with her eyes turning lidded with drool sipping out of her lips. All in all, she looks like an old man who's seen a woman naked. She was snapped out of her fantasy world when she saw a group of cloak-wearing person walking discreetly in an alley. A normal person wouldn't see them because of the camouflage, but Renji wasn't normal by any means. She could see them clearly, she could even see their features and could feel their magical energy. Fallen angels. Her eyes sharpened, those fallen angels are dangerous to her. Not because of their power, because they are puny compared to her, they weren't even a threat to her, they are dangerous because of their bodies. They might try to lure and steal her beloved Naruto-san from her with those scandalous and dirty bodies of theirs. She won't stand for this, she will not. But that in mind, she entered the alleyway while casting a protection magic in that area, but due to her overpowered magic, she ended up putting the barrier in the whole district, but she didn't care, it's much better that way. Hey you shitty birds. The four fallen angels stiffens before they slowly turned towards the source of the voice and was befuddled when they saw a small silver-haired little girl in there standing with her arms on her hips. And true to her words, the four fallen angels are all attractive women's. The first one has raven black hair wearing some sort of sadomasochistic clothing, while the blonde with twin tails was wearing gothic Lolita maid, which irked her to no end. The blue-haired one was wearing an assassin wannabe coat, and the last one was a red-haired big-breasted bimbo, her natural enemy. She didn't ask for their name as she simply didn't care enough to know about it. She doesn't care for insects who was about to die. Before the fallen angels could respond or say anything, Renji pounced. With Naruto sighed as he walks towards the fast food chain where his most favorite foods could be found. He wondered why he felt Renji's magic earlier, but considering it was Renji's, it's probably due to something idiotic and stupid. The reminder of Renji made him shudder. He promised that he would do whatever he wanted for her, but he only did that due to him being desperate enough not to be found out. I don't want to go home, he muttered dejectedly as his shoulders slumps, not noticing the girl walking in front of him with a map in her hand until he bumped into her. He watched the girl flail her arms around as she fell back. Due to his trained instincts he managed to react immediately, catching the girl before she hit the ground. Are you okay? He asked as he turned to look at the girl and was surprised to find that she's a foreigner. She's a beautiful young girl, she has golden brown hair that flows way down to her back, her bangs was split in the middle to show her forehead, she has a heart-shaped face with a pair of cute green eyes, she has a single strand of hair sticking out from the top, slopping backwards. Her outfit consists of a western nun. The girl immediately stood up and bowed to him. I'm so sorry, I wasn't looking where I was going and bumped into you. The girl apologized while Naruto waved it off. It's alright, it's my fault, I wasn't looking too. So we're both at fault. Yes, She smiled brightly at him, seeing the map on the ground and case in her hand, he connected the dot. You're lost, aren't you? The girl nodded her head dejectedly. Yes, I just arrived here in Japan this morning and was looking for the church, but when I arrived there I found out that it has been demolished already. She sighed in disappointment, not knowing what to do today and where to stay. Naruto's eyes flash in recognition, the old church that has been demolished a few days ago. He heard that a resort was going to be open there, which is why they demolished the church, and considering the lot was a huge one, it made sense that whoever bought it would choose that place. I see, so where are you heading to now? The blonde girl sighed once again, somehow Naruto felt that look of dejection on her face was too out of place for her to have. I don't know. Naruto tilted his head. I just have enough money for a cab from airport to here and a spare for lunch, I don't have any money to rent a hotel. The girl sighed once again, she's doing it a lot these days. I see. Naruto somehow was reminded of Renji as he looks at the girl. Burgle. Naruto blinks while the girl flushed pink. I haven't eaten since last night, sorry. The girl explained bashfully while Naruto gaped. Since last night it's already 4 in the afternoon. That's no good. Naruto grabbed the girl's hand and practically dragged her towards the nearest food store while the girl flailed her other hand with the case in surprise. A cute and innocent girl like her shouldn't be wandering outside at this kind of time, and he didn't want her to sleep here outside, while hungry she would be taken advantage of. His eyes widened as he glanced at the girl he was pulling with him with a glint of realization in his eyes. That's right. If I brought her with me, Renji wouldn't be able to do whatever she's planning. And she wouldn't be that angry if he firmly told her that it was my decision. With that in mind, he enthusiastically dragged the girl with him who was staring at his back in confusion with a small smile on her face. With Renji, Fukuku, hurry up and clean it. Renji was sitting on the back of the raven-haired girl who was on her hands and knees with her face firmly planted on the ground with a lot of bruises on her body. The other 2 fallen angels has been exterminated, while the blonde hair with twin tails wearing a gothic Lolita costume was licking her bare feet after she took off her shoes and socks. She was smiling sadistically as the blonde girl licked her feet and shudders at the slurping sound that came out of her lewd mouth. Oh, you're good with your tongue, I am sure Naruto-san will be pleased if I gift you to her, of course as a dog, and slave, said Renji with a blissful and sadistic smile on her face. She would have killed them along with the 2 earlier, but the 2 of them begged for their life and told her they would serve her and do whatever she want if she let them live. Their names are Rainer and Middled, fallen angels sent by Kakabiel to steal something called the Twilight Healing. A sacred gear capable of healing the wounds of all kinds of beings and races. She wanted to kill them, but she realized that if she brought the 2 of them with her, she could test out every new thing she wanted to test at them. Especially now she bought a lot of new toys, maybe she could use it to test at them and see if it would be effective. Fu Naruto-san, Bratty, you're going to love this. She thought with a perverted grin on her face. The truth is the reason why she killed the other is not because of them having a nice body, that was only one of the reasons, but the main reason was that the blue-haired girl called her a kid and laughed at her when she said that her master didn't think so, before she started calling Naruto-san a disgusting pervert and an otaku who is a lolicon. It wasn't true, except for the lolicon part. But she is the only one allowed to call him a lolicon, and no one in this world will be able to continue living if they ever dare insult her Naruto-san and live through it. Without any warnings, her Ahogue immediately spinning like a satellite looking for its target. My loli radar is going crazy. She exclaimed while Middle took off her other shoes and socks and started servicing her other foot. She looked down at her before Renji started laughing. Fuaha. She placed the back of her hand near her lips as she smiled. That's good, please me, and I might decide to let you continue living your pathetic life as my Naruto-san's pets. Oh, she couldn't wait to present them to her Naruto-san. If only she knew the punishment Naruto has for her for doing such cruel things. But the guardian of the sword was staring at the humming and glowing sword in surprise. Guardian has noticed it a few hours ago. He almost hit himself for not noticing it. If the sword is humming such strange noise and was glowing like it was alive, then it only meant that the wielder has been chosen and that the person chosen was close, really close. The guardian frowned inside the armor before guardian flicked its fingers and slowly and bright light enveloped him. Once the light disappeared, instead of the armor standing there, it was someone else. It was a girl who has the appearance of an elementary student. She has shoulder-length light blonde hair with a pair of beautiful greenish pale eyes. She wore a shoulder-less green dress that ends at her thighs in the front, with the back ending at the back of her knees. The hem of the dress has black frills on it, and she wore a green short shorts and was wearing a pure white thigh-length socks with frills and green shoes. She has a pair of arm warmers and green gloves. The back of her dress and the side of her dress has a green bow on it. The most noticeable thing about her was the white headband with a backward cross in it. This is none other than Lilia Lilith, the only daughter of the original Lucifer and the only grandchild of God. The one who was tasked by God to guard the sword until the chosen wielder appears. The girl frowned as she steps towards the sword and kneeled in front of it. So this is the reaction that grandfather was talking about. To think she would desire to be with the chosen wielder so much means that the person who was chosen was a great person. Her grandfather told her that there would be several reactions to the sword when the chosen wielder appears, but out of all the reactions this one was the intense. When the sword started vibrating while humming soft tunes, it meant that the sword's desires to be with its chosen wielder so much, and that the only person who would be able to make such reactions like this is that if the person has a pure and honest heart. The girl's frown deepened a bit. What are you doing, Ariel? If the wielder is this close, then why not lead the chosen one here? She mutters under her breath. If you don't do your job, then I will be forced to do it myself, she said to herself as she stood up and started walking away while sealing the shrine into another dimension. It's finally time for her to make her move. Wait for me, O chosen one. The search would be easy because the sword is reacting so strongly meant that the chosen is nearby. She has a chosen warrior to find and a student to punish for neglecting her job. Daughter? What are you doing? You've been spending more time watching the human world rather than playing with your friends. The person who spoke was a man who stood at height of 6 foot and 3 inches. He was a monkey-like man with light golden brown hair and monkey-like fur on his body. He wore a golden armors with sun engraved mark with arm guards, leg guards and shoulder guards with a golden pole on his back. The one he spoke to was an attractive young woman who seems to be a middle school student. She is an extremely cute girl with light brownish golden hair, with tail of her hair being braided with small red bow at the end with 2 golden bells. She has a pair of golden brown eyes and a golden crown on her forehead. She wore a sleeveless white hooded jacket with feathery hood with monkey ears atop and red bow on her collar. She wore a black skin-tied arm guards that covers from above her elbow to her wrist and wore a red miniskirt with red and gold rubber on her right thigh and shin-length reed boots. She has a cute light brownish gold monkey tail with golden rings. Her pouty lips were currently pulled down as she pout while watching the man chatting happily with a blonde nun. But PAPA, I'm not enjoying playing with my friends anymore. I found something more entertaining and fun. The girl exclaimed with a grin on her face as her cheeks turned pink as she watched the kind blonde man offer the blonde nun a home. The man raised an eyebrow when he saw his daughter's cheeks turning pink before he looked at the all-seeing fountain and his eyes immediately bulged with veins throbbing in his head. Daughter, don't tell me all you did was watch that boy and not the human world all this time. The monkey man asked menacingly as his eyes turned red as he glared at the image of the blonde boy. The girl nodded her head at the question, not even bothering to look at her father, who looked like he would explode at the notion of his daughter stalking a puny human. Why? The girl giggled because he's so interesting. He's surrounded by all kind of different people, yet he still acts the same, and he's a kind person. I like him. She exclaimed with a wide smile, making her father's son Wukong almost fainted in shock at seeing the look on his daughter's face. It was the same look as her mother has when she first laid her eyes on him. Oh God, no. He thought my daughter Surigami won't be defiled by that man. Surigami, have you know what? Well, do you like that human? He meant to ask if she has a crush on that human, but he was too afraid, so he just asked if she likes him. His daughter is too young to have a crush, she's only 14. Surigami looked at him weirdly. Why are you asking that, Papa? I told you earlier, right? I said I like him. She turned towards the fountain once again, not seeing the look on her father's face, as if he has been struck by an arrow. She also didn't see the glint on his eyes as if he's plotting about something. I'll scare this human, maybe he will leave my daughter alone if I did so. Though technically his daughter was the one who was stalking the boy, not the other way around, but being the doting father he is, he would never admit it. That's why he became off the grid and pretended to be dead after all, to hide the fact that he has a daughter to raise, so that his enemies wouldn't come after her. Remember this, human, I will never hand my daughter to you. He thought with a menacing glare towards the fountain where an image of a blonde-haired boy could be seen. For some reason, Naruto suddenly shudders as if someone was out to get him. Line break. What the hell is this? What is going on here, Naruto-san? A vein throbbed in Naruto's forehead as his eyes bulged with red veins running through it as he looked down murderously at Renj, who has the same murderous look on her face. I should be the one asking that. Naruto pointed his finger at a certain direction. Why in God's green earth are there 2 fallen angels here standing wearing nothing but apron? Our Rainer-sama. Poor little Asia's mind couldn't comprehend the situation she was currently looking at. The girl who was her boss was currently standing there with another fallen angel with blonde hair with their head bow, wearing nothing but an apron and a thigh-length black socks. Renj huffed as she looked away while crossing her eyes. Another vein throbbed in Naruto's forehead seeing Hei acting so haughty. Of course, they are here as your new slaves and as my practice dummies when I want to try new things, and they are also here to help me relieve my stress and loneliness whenever I am not here. She responded with the same haughty look. Of course, they are yours too. I made sure not to do anything inappropriate to them yet. And wearing nothing but apron is appropriate, Naruto screeched with tick mark above his eyebrows and on his cheek. Of course, I heard it was every boy's dream to see a bodacious woman wearing nothing but apron, but I know you are a lolicon, so I knew you won't be easily swayed by this, so I also prepare a special apron for me. It was custom made, and I am confident that it will suit your taste. By this time Naruto was only muttering incoherent words while practically frothing at the mouth. I will. His fingers kept twitching as if he wanted to strangle something or someone. Asia took a few steps away from him when she saw veins practically covering his whole face, with Renj not seeing it because her head was turned away with her eyes closed. The two fallen angels kept fidgeting nervously seeing the murderous aura coming out of Naruto in waves and also feeling the aura of death in the air. Ho 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 ho, no need to be so excited. I know you wanted to see it so much, but I prepared it for our later fun. I even made an apron for you to wear later, and I brought new toys to play with. I am sure it will fit your taste, and if not then you can punish these two new slaves of yours and relieve your stress. But of course knowing you I will be the one you will choose because you are a lolicon and only small bodies can get you off. Asia looked at Naruto in a horrified manner, wondering if she was fooled and followed the wrong man. This man sounded like an offender. Someone whom the police will love to lock up and kept inside the cell for the rest of his life. She took a few steps back when she saw Naruto's eye almost popping out of its socket with several tick marks, marring his face with his teeth becoming like sharks. Renj. Yes my lolicon master. Kua Renj began as she turned to him before releasing a loud squeak when she saw the look on Naruto's face. Why yes master? She asked as she trembled in nervousness before swallowing tickly. Clench your teeth. Hee. A few minutes later. I'm sorry. Renj apologized as she sat on the floor more like Caesar on the floor. Her face was bulging with her eyes comically swollen along with her cheeks, with several bumps on her head and bruises on her forehead. You should be. Said Naruto as he sat on the sofa with Asia fidgeting nervously besides him, while the two fallen angels was now sitting on the other side wearing their original clothing, with the black-haired girl wearing some kind of uniform, while the other one was wearing maid outfit, probably cosplaying. So. He turned towards them. Hee. The two fallen angels squeaked in fear while holding each other. Naruto twitched before he sighed while wondering where the hell Ophis had gone, not like he care, but he's still annoyed if she was here. This would have not happened because he was sure as stoic as she is, she probably still has some sort of common sense. Right? Right. It's not like every strong beings are like Renj. Odds he hoped not because he wasn't sure his brain would be able to take it if all the strong beings here are quirky and stupid. So, who the hell are you two? The black-haired one began as she shakily stood and kneeled down and bowed her head on the floor. My name is Rainer. I am sure you know this already but I am a fallen angel pleased to meet you master. The next one, the blonde-haired girl stood up before doing the same thing as the other girl, but she was more cheerful and energetic than the black-haired one. Hello master my name is Middled and from now on I will be your personal maid. Slave, I'm his personal and everything. Renj stated while glaring at Middled who nervously gulped. Pack. Renj was hit in the head by a mug courtesy of Naruto. Oh we. She rubbed her head. Anyway, from now on I will be your slave, I will gladly serve you master. To tame someone like Renj-sama means you are incredibly strong. Please take care of me. No, you'll be taking care of him, not the other way around bitch. Oh. She rubbed her head again when she got hit by the same mug. Naruto rubbed his face. Ugh, you two should probably head back to your headquarters. I am not sure what the hell happened, but you two are free to go. In a blink of an eye the two of them immediately hugged Naruto's legs, surprising him as well as confounding Asia, who was staring at her superior in disbelief. Naruto looked uncomfortable as he tried to push the two away. Please don't see us back. The two of them exclaimed immediately, we will do anything you want, we will even give you our virginity. Just don't send us back. The two of them pleaded and even offered him their virginities, just so that he won't send them back to Grigori just to be executed for acting without orders. Why? Naruto asked in confusion, they rather live their life being a slave than them going back home. Just what kind of people do they live with if they are so afraid to return home? Because we acted without orders, if we head back now we'll surely be executed. Naruto frowned, it was not his problem. Truthfully, it isn't, and considering that they are probably betraying their own group, then they deserved it, but he could not in good conscience send them back just to be executed. He was sure he won't be able to sleep well tonight or the next night or whenever he tried to sleep because of the guilt of sending two people to their own death. If they got captured and killed then that was fine, but him sending them back just to be killed is something that he cannot do. Fine, you two can stay for a while, but you will have to work to earn my trust because I do not trust you. If you can betray those who have fed you for God knows how long, then it won't be hard for you to betray me whom you didn't even know for a day. We won't. The two of them promised while Naruto sighed with a scowl. Fine, but those who doesn't work won't eat, so you will have to earn your own living to eat. I will provide you proper accommodations and free baths, but you will work for your own food. The two of them nodded. We're fine with that. That's good. Naruto nodded. Cough. Naruto turned his head towards Renj who coughed in her hand to get his attention. His eyebrow twitched. What is it, you perverted beast? Now that is all done, don't think that everything is over now, Naruto-san. Huh? Naruto asked, wondering that hell she was on about now. Renj stood up and pointed her fingers at Asia, who squeaked in surprise at the sudden attention. Who the hell is she? Naruto sighed while Rainer blinks when she saw Asia. She didn't notice the girl earlier, but now that her presence has been pointed out. She's my subordinate, said Rainer, earning everyone's attention while Naruto turned to Asia with a look of confusion. Excuse me? He asked a little bit edgy, wondering if Asia was just pretending and was only fooling him. Asia saw the look and shook her head. No. I didn't trick you, Naruto-san. I really am new here. Rainer nodded, deciding to help her subordinate even though it was the subordinate she was supposed to kill in a few days. Yes, in fact this is the very first time she even stepped in Japan. She was on house arrest since she was young and was forced to stay inside the church. Why? Naruto asked, wondering what the hell is up with the church for detaining such an innocent girl inside the church. That's because of her ability or her sacred gear. Naruto immediately turned towards Renj, who spoke while Rainer nodded. Explain. Naruto said harshly, not liking the reason of a girl being caged due to her ability, whatever it is. The moment she stepped in, I immediately sensed her sacred gear, the Twilight Healing. It was considered heretic because of its ability to not only heal any humans, but also angel and devils. You get where I am going with this, right? Naruto nodded his head with a frown. To him it sounded stupid, so what if it has the power to heal even devils? Isn't God supposed to be loving and forgiving? He didn't ostracize others even if they are of different race. If it has the power to heal, then it meant that it was blessing by God and not a heretic. Is that why they confined you? Naruto asked Asia. It sounded so wrong to confine her just for having that. Asia shook her head. Well, you see, master, when she was a child she stumbled on a winged devil. Little Asia didn't know that it was a devil and immediately healed the man. A priest saw it and he immediately claimed that Asia is a traitor and a witch who worked for devils. Since then she was confined in the church in hope of turning her belief back to the Lord, and that is also the reason why we took her in. The girl got no friends because everybody hates her and didn't trust her. Rainer explained, not mentioning the fact that they were only using her because Naruto would be pissed at them, no doubt, while Naruto scowled before he turned to Asia, who had a bitter smile on her face. His face softened a little. Do you regret it? He asked Asia softly while said girl merely looked up at him. She stared at him for a few minutes before smiling brightly. She shook her head. If can I do it again, then I will. This gift was given to me by the Lord, so I will use it to help others as it is the wish of the Lord. Naruto's lip formed a small smile while Renj nodded. What's so good with that guy? He declared her as evil, without even getting to know her and sealing her afterwards. I see. Naruto walked towards Asia and kneeled in front of her and gently took her hands while tenderly rubbing them. Asia's cheeks turned pink while Renj's eyebrows twitched. Then from now on, I will be your friend, we will hang out together, eat outside together like earlier. Renj gaped when she heard that part but kept her mouth shut because she knew Naruto would be pissed if she messed this good mood up. We'll do all the kinds of things that friends do, we will everything you want, everything that you missed all these years. I got a lot of free time, so we'll spend it doing all you want together, said Naruto with a grin while Asia started tearing up. Really? She asked softly while Naruto nodded his head. Yes. Naruto promised while Asia kneeled in front of him and wrapped her arms around Naruto. He truly is a kind man. Asia knew that God has finally forgiven her for healing the devil and was giving her this beautiful gift, this blessing. A very special gift in the form of Naruto Namikaze. Thank you. She thanked him from the bottom of her heart, not just to Naruto, but to her lord as well. For the great gift that she had received. It might be the very first and very last, but it was the greatest gift one person could ever ask for, and she was happy that she was the one who was granted with it. The two of them hugged each other, not even caring at the fact that Renj was emitting a strange black miasma as her eyes turned red while she glared at Asia's head trying to burn a hole in it. Click. Everyone blinked when they heard the closet near the window opened as a small girl with black hair came out. Oh, Ophis. Where did you come from and what the hell are you doing in the closet? Naruto asked in disbelief while the two fallen angels paled after hearing that name. I appear from the closet. Ahem. Naruto's head met the floor. Found him yet? A feminine and childish voice rang out from the throne room as the speaker's feature was shadowed by darkness, with her crimson's eyes being the only indication that she was there. Forgive me, mistress, but we still haven't found him yet. Even our best trackers was dumbfounded, it was as if he disappeared from the face of the world. It is a possibility that he left using the gap with that accursed woman. The one who responded was an attractive woman with beautiful silver hair with the side being braided and a pair of grey eyes. She has a frilly white maid headband on her head and wore a blue French maid outfit with white apron tied around her waist. She has a leather belt tied around her left thigh with a knife pouch on it and wore a black-heeled shoes. The mistress' face twisted into rage at the mention of that accursed woman who seduced her man and tried to take what is hers. Even with her being shadowed completely, the maid could still see the look of rage on the girl's face. Then they aren't trying. If they can't find him, then they are not looking for him. Keep on looking. If he wasn't here, then they are probably in that world and used the gap to travel there. Call that old hag and bring her here. I need her to open the gate for me. The girl childishly flailed her arms around as she stomped her feet on the ground. At once, mistress. The silver-haired maid stood up and prepared to leave to do as she was told when her mistress suddenly called out to her. Wait. The girl began. Do you think he hates me? The girl asked, feeling insecure of herself. The man was the only one who managed to make her feel like this, the only person who managed to bring color to her colorless life, he who managed to sate her boredom and bring joy to her eternal life. The girl shook her head. I do not believe so. He said it himself that he will never hate you and didn't care about whatever you are. To him you are you. You know that he is a man of his word, and when he say he likes you means he truly do. I do not believe that he left because he hates you. Then why do you think that idiot left? You know him, mistress, he's very adventurous, and whenever he hears something interesting he would immediately go there like a moth to a flame. Maybe he heard something interesting and decided to see it for himself. You really do miss him, do you, mistress? What? No. HMP. Me? Misses that fool. There is no way that would ever happen. I only wanted him back so dear little Flander would have her playmate back and she would need to pester me and be lonely. I do not care about him or anything. In fact I am really glad that he's gone until Flander started asking me for him. The mistress vehemently denied with a furious blush. Right, and his picture under your pillow is there because Mistress Flander left it on accident. The silver-haired maid responded with some sarcasm. Oh, of course, why would I keep a picture of that idiot on me? HMP. The mistress stuck her nose away with a haughty huff. Of course. The silver-haired maid nodded her head with a glint of amusement in her eyes as she turned back and started walking away. Once the silver-haired maid left, the mistress removed her right hand which she was hiding on her back when the silver-haired maid come in. On her right hand was a picture of a blonde-haired boy with blue eyes and faded whisker-like markings on his cheeks. You infuriating idiot. -00000. Naruto sneezed as he was jerked awake. He rubbed his nose as he sat on his bed before he felt something strange. He felt something warm on his pelvis, wet and sticky but very warm. Gulping and praying that he was wrong, he carefully and slowly removed the blanket covering his form, and the moment he did so, he almost fainted at what he saw. Orange, naked as the day she was born while sucking on his mighty Naruto like she was possessed. As if she was a woman on a mission, with her mission being draining Naruto of his life force because of what she was doing might actually cost him his sanity and freedom. What are you doing, you idiot? Naruto forcefully disengaged himself away from Renge and kicked her away as she comically sent her away. Renge curled her body into a ball as she landed on the ground with her legs and arms spread wide, as if she was a gymnast. It would be a splendid performance had she not been naked. Morning service. Renge responded with a tone that spoke as if it was a normal thing to do, and she was looking at him as if he was stupid. He really wanted to smack the hell out of her. I don't need morning service from you. Naruto screeched out as his face turned red from the rage he was feeling. He didn't know why he's getting so worked up. Renge looked at him as if he was stupid. What complaints do you have about a beautiful girl like who is always ready to go? That's attitude of yours is my problem. Thought Naruto as veins started bulging on his cheek. Juice. Naruto began with a cold smile on his face, but Renge didn't see it. Joe's? Renge tilted her head. Mild or hard? At the word hard, Renge immediately brightened up as she thought that her master finally saw reason and decided to tie the knot with her. Hard? Of course hard. Well, even if it is soft she will still take it in her, but she would prefer if it was hard so it was easier to ride. Slow or fast? Naruto asked again as his eyebrows started twitching. Renge's immediately got a furious nasal bleeding as she laughed pervertedly. Fast. How many strokes? As many as you can. Renge replied with a dopey smile, not seeing Naruto grinning evilly as he leaned down and pulled something out from underneath the bed. Renge was snapped out of her perverted fantasy when she saw Naruto holding a thick iron ladle on his hand. Then Naruto-san. What are you going to do with that ladle? Ren stared backing away from Naruto who was emitting such malicious black aura. As many as I can huh. Naruto giggled evilly while Ren paled, she turned tail and started running, but Naruto grabbed her hair and pulled her towards him. He bent her on his knees and started hitting her brutally on the ass with the ladle. Behind the door peeking at them was the two fallen angels. They winced whenever they heard the loud sound of slapping whenever the ladle hit Ren's butt. Hey Rainer-chan. Middle began, she no longer called her as Sama since she wasn't her superior anymore. What is it? Rainer asked as she winced once again after hearing another loud smack, but this time instead of screaming again, Renj was now moaning as if she has become a masochist. She grins when she saw the look of conflict on Naruto's face, as if being aroused while disgusted at the same time. Do you think Naruto-sama will do that to us too? Middle asked as she started rubbing her thighs together. I don't know but I hope so. Rainer responded. Me too. Asia exclaimed from behind them, surprising the two before they grabbed Asia and covers her mouth when Naruto turned to them. They sighed in relief when they saw him returning back to punishing pleasuring Renj. Poke. What? Poke. What is it? Poke poke poke. I said what. Rainer turned behind her with a look of irritation on her face before she paled. She started tapping Middle's shoulders but got ignored, so she grabbed the blonde's head and forcefully snapped it to the direction of what she was looking at. There standing with a dark look on his face was none other than their master Naruto, with a ladle in his hand and tapping it on his palm. The both of them gulp. Show me your butts. He ordered with a cruel look. He missed the look on excitement that crossed their features when he told them to bend. Outside, peeking from the window is the same girl who was guarding the sword. She was peeking from the window with her face completely pale as she watched the blonde boy punish the four girls with a ladle. She didn't know it could be used as a weapon for punishing naughty childrens, since the way those four girls acts is like that of a child. This is the chosen one? She mumbled to herself as she looked on in disbelief. Poke. What? She turned back only to pale when the same boy was there standing behind her. What are you doing in my house? You do know that trespassing is illegal, right? Lilia gulped, she desperately wanted to tell him that what he was doing was also illegal, but the look on his face stopped her from doing so. Naruto grabbed her from the collar of her shirt and dragged her inside. Nuo. The door slammed shut and the sound of five girls moaning and screaming was heard. MOOREEYEES, right THERE, Naruto SAAAAN, why me too oh. Thank you for accompanying me Rainer, I never knew that buying grocery could be this tiring, especially when it's a bargain sale. Naruto sighed as he walks the street of Kuo with Rainer in tow. He was wearing a simple track pants and blue t-shirt accompanied by black sandals, while Rainer was wearing a short green shorts and purple shirt with only slippers on her feet. It's alright Naruto-sama, we can't just always rely on you. We are your maids and instead of us buying the groceries for you it is you who do it for us. It's just we fallen angels used our human servants to do such menial task for us, so we really never experienced doing such things as buying groceries. Rainer responded apologetically, had she knew buying groceries was so much fun she would have done it herself back then, but then again she only had fun because Naruto was with her. It is a common knowledge that fallen angels women are attracted to man with a lot power, and Naruto who managed to tame such beings like Renj and Ophis means he is a lot stronger than those two, so it was obvious that she and Middle was attracted to him. Wow, you fallen angels must have it easy then. No wonder all of you seem so spoiled. Naruto commented dryly while Rainer chuckled sheepishly, she can't really refute that since despite them being the lowest when it comes to rankings due to their amount of wings, they are still considered very important by their human servants, which is why they are spoiled to the brim. The two of them froze when they sensed magical energy coming from the park a few kilometers away, Naruto because he was familiar to the other presence, while Rainer felt the presence of a fallen angel. The both of them looked at each other before nodding as Rainer summoned her wings and wrapped her arms around Naruto's waist before she flew, while suppressing the shiver of excitement that went through her when she felt Naruto's hard abs and the other shiver when she felt that she was doomed. Naruto's penthouse. So you are the guardian of that sword that God sealed several years ago huh? Renj hummed as she sat with her legs crossed while looking at the cards on her hands. Middleton Asia was sitting on a corner with Asia looking at the card on Middle's hands. They were playing poker, but since Asia didn't know how to play poker, she just opted to watch them. On the other corner Lilia sat with a smile on her face while looking at the card on her hands with a smug smile. Yes, I am the chosen guardian of that sword. If you are here then it means that the chosen wielder of that sword is one of the residents of this house. Lilia nodded at Renj's statement. Yes, I sent one of my subordinates to look for the chosen one, but that irresponsible little girl decided to slack off, so I am going to punish her later. If it is punishing someone then you can ask me for tips, I am particularly good at punishing others. Renj offered with a crazed smile in her face that made Asia and Middle gulp while they rubbed their butt. Rainer summoned her wings before she wrapped her arms around Naruto's toned stomach and set off. Renj was about to speak again when she felt a tingling sensation and the strand of hair sticking up her head immediately started spinning as if trying to detect something. My Naruto pervy radar is going haywire. Something that shouldn't be happening is happening without my consent. The other three sweat dropped as they watch Renj raging. But Naruto and Rainer. Naruto, who has been dropped down on the roof of one of the house near the park, watched along with Rainer, who landed gently beside him. The two of them watched as an attractive fallen angel stab Issei in the stomach with a spear made of light. What is going on, Rainer? Why did that fallen angel attack Issei? Naruto asked harshly, but nothing to save Issei. He knew that a certain red-headed devil was waiting for this moment, as he had already sensed her hiding in one of the bushes, along with a certain adorable Nico-chan. They probably think that he is a treat because of his sacred gear. That boy has a very powerful sacred that when mastered, could be used to kill gods. Naruto turned to Rainer in surprise and disbelief. Seriously? You mean the pervert? Rainer nodded as she watched the fallen angel gloat at the dying boy before flying away. Hey Naruto-sama. Rainer turned to Naruto with dull eyes. For some reason I felt like had I not met you, I would be the one who would kill that boy instead of that substitute fallen angel. Naruto glanced at Rainer with his eyes also turning dull. What a coincidence, I felt the same. The two of them turned back to Issei and watch as a red-headed girl appeared in front of the dying Issei and started doing some crappy mantra and reviving the boy using her chest piece. That girl is a otaku. Rainer concluded with a dull look on her face. How did you know? She spoke like one. True. Naruto nodded before Rainer re-summoned her wings and wrapped her arms around Naruto once again and flew away, not caring at the fact that another fallen angel was watching them. But this one has 6 pairs of raven black wings. Oh, so that is the boy. How interesting. After muttering those words, the man disappeared leaving black feathers on top of the building. Underworld. A small tear appeared in the middle of the mountains found in the underworld as the same silver-haired maid came out of it. I can feel his presence. The woman muttered as she started walking as the dimensional door closed. She continued walking for a little bit until she was stopped by a spear made of light that landed a few inches away from her. Looking up she saw what seems to be a tengu or another winged yokai. It has the appearance of a man wearing a long trench coat and a fedora with black wings coming out of his back. The man was looking right at her with nothing but bloodlust in his eyes. How rude, is that how you greet people in this world? Attacking them without any notice? The woman asked without any hint of emotion in her face other than annoyance. View it, how feisty. Shouldn't you devils know that this is the fallen angel's territory, coming here on your own? You must have a dead wish, but anyway, are you related to that ice bitch, the queen of that redhead clown? The man asked with a smug smirk on his face. I do not know of this ice bitch you are speaking about, but I do not like the way you talk to me, so I will have to get rid of you. She responded coldly while narrowing her eyes. The fedora man sighed sadly. Pity, I thought you are related to her, so that when I'm done with you, I can send your ravaged body to her, which would probably be taken as an invitation to start a war. The man's smile was so full of bloodlust that his face started twisted into something disgusting. I do. Before he could finish introducing himself and start another inner monologue, the girl cut him off by sending a pair of sharp knives and watch in sickening glee as it pierced both his eyes and past his head before embedding to a tree. The man fell in a heap like a sack of potato and no doubt dead. You talk too much. The maid girl commented dryly to the corpse as she started walking away, not even bothering to hide the body of the dead fallen angel. Do you think that we will let you get away for what you have done, devil? The maid sighed as a group of fallen angels came out of their hiding place and started surrounding her, with all of them summoning a spear made of light in their hands. The maid released an annoyed sigh as she muttered. Well, this will take a while. She closed her eyes before snapping them open. Her eyes turned cold as the fallen angels suddenly stopped before they could even throw the spear. They are frozen as if time has stopped, which actually is. Well, I got to take care of all the hindrance first, then look for Naruto-sama later. I just hope mistress didn't get too impatient. And thus, the massacre of the fallen angels who works for the Cows Brigade happened. Break. Naruto, now dressed in his student uniform, stood atop of the altar where the divine slaying blade could be seen pulsing happily at finally meeting its chosen wielder. He has been informed by Lilia about the sword and about his teacher Ariel being one of her subordinates who came looking for the chosen one, which was him. She told him that he was the one destined to wield her whether he liked it or not, because circumstances will happen that will one day force him to draw that blade, and to prevent any tragedy from happening, he decided to test if he really is the one who was destined to wield this so-called divine slaying blade. It was currently sending a massive shockwave that blew the others away other than Naruto, as for some strange reason the shockwave was not affecting him. Oh Naruto-san, draw it. Lilia ordered as Naruto turned to her before nodding his head. Once he wrapped his hands around the hilt of the blade, it started pulsing more excitedly and releasing a powerful shockwave that almost shattered the whole cave inside the shrine. With all his strength Naruto started pulling. Rah. Naruto roared as he started pulling the sword slowly, and his companions, the two fallen angels, Asia, Renj, and Ophis and Lilia, who was punishing the now kneeling Ariel, looked on in shock as Naruto's body got covered in an ethereal golden light that was swinging wildly. Harg. Naruto, with veins throbbing on his forehead and his fist, finally managed to draw the sword and raised it in his head as a powerful pillar of golden energy emerged from it, enveloping the whole shrine. Thankfully the others managed to get away and leave the shrine when they saw the chaotic energy emerging from Naruto. When the light died down, Naruto could be seen standing in a huge crater looking at the glowing sword in his hand. Terminus est, so that is your name. Naruto muttered as he looked at the strange engraving on the sword, which for some strange reason he could read, even though he didn't know the language. The sword pulsed happily at him mentioning its name. I would advise for you to drop that sword and step away from it, young man, a voice that held authority, despite how chirpy and happy-go-lucky it sounded, rang out as a circular red magic circle appeared. And out came from it was a man with red hair who looked like the devil he seen a few nights ago, wearing some strange armor with a woman with silver hair and grey eyes that reminded him so much of a certain time mate. Though this one has bigger breast than the one he knew. Sorry. I can't, but why? Naruto asked with his head tilted while sending a signal to Renj, who immediately rushed back to Naruto. It is for best, so I advise you step away from the sword, young man. Now. This time it was the maid who commanded with a cold and stern voice, with her eyes narrowed as she stepped towards Naruto, while Terminus est started pulsing angrily. And I advise for you to step away from him. Now. Another cold voice rang out as it ordered the maid in front of Naruto, as another maid wearing blue French maid outfit came out of nowhere and landed behind Naruto with a cold look on her eyes. The red-headed man gaped while the maid looked shocked while Naruto grimaced. Esakuya. Tense. If he's going to explain the current atmosphere inside the cave as his companion and the two newly arrivals stared down each other. It became even more so when Ophis, Renj and Lilia appeared and stood in front of him. He could see the stiffening of the red hair man and his companion when they saw Ophis, based from the look of their faces, they clearly know who Ophis is. The red-haired man swallowed thickly before he introduces himself. Ahem, good day to you, I am Surzich's Lucifer, one of the Mayus who governs the underworld, and this is my maid Graphia Lucifuge. We came here as soon as we felt the sword that slays divinity get pulled from its resting place. The now named Surzix introduced himself with a kind smile while sweating on the inside. We don't care, we didn't ask your name, you should have asked us if we wanted to hear it or now. Renj responded with an annoyed frown on her face, while a small tick mark formed on Naruto's cheek. Graphia's eyes narrowed at the little girl whom she assumed was the little sister of the blonde teen or connected to him in some way. Hack, the two of them blinked when Renj's head met the ground courtesy of Naruto chopping her on the head. Sorry for her rude attitude, she's always like that whenever somebody threatens my life. Naruto responded with a serious look on his face. Surzich's tilted his head with a smile on his face. Threatened you? We did. Naruto nodded his head. When did that happen? A scowl formed on Naruto's face as Renj pulled her head out. You demanded for him to step away from the sword so you can take it away. You were threatening him. Renj pointed her fingers at them with her eyes glowing red. Surzich's nodded his head, for some reason he did not, but this little girl's presence seems too familiar to him, and her presence alone is enough to make all the hair on the back of his neck stood on end and his body to be covered in goosebumps. Indeed, we did say that, but the last part was an exaggeration on your part. We don't remember saying such thing. Surzich's admitted as he stood in front of Graphia, who was just about to open her mouth to retort to Renj's accusation. But we didn't say for you to drop the sword so we can take it, it was part of the agreement that we devils will also help guard the sword in case someone tried to take it. It is his right to take it, I don't care whatever you devils and the other factions' agreement is, but my grandfather told me that when the day that the chosen wielder of the sword appear, then I am to lead that person here to test their resolve and see if they are truly worthy of being able to wield Terminus est. Grandfather told me the name of the sword, and Naruto-san here was proven worthy of it when he uttered the sword's name. Lillian quipped with a frown on her face, it is her job to protect the divine slaying sword, not theirs. She won't let them take her job just because they are self-important idiots who just decided that the world is theirs, just because they have powers that has been granted to them by her great-grandfather, the one who created the universe and everything within it. Then you are Lilia Lilith, the daughter of the original Lucifer and granddaughter of him, Surzich's exclaimed with a look of shock and disbelief. This little girl whom he assumed as the little sister of the blonde-haired man in front of them was the granddaughter of God and the daughter of the original Lucifer. To think that she was the guardian of the sword. And why didn't the angel told them about her? Was it for the sake of setting them up or because they do not trust them? That is understandable after all, or did the angels also not know about her? Surzich's turned to the young man once again and the sword in his hand. How did you know that he really is the chosen wielder of that sword? Maybe he only found out its name because he drew it. Lilia shook her head. No, he is the chosen wielder because he is the only one capable of drawing it. Had it been any other person they would have died trying to draw her, because Terminus would reject anybody who wasn't the chosen wielder, and I found him because Terminus was calling out to him. That alone is proof enough to me that he really is the chosen wielder of the divine slaying blade. Anyone would be wondering why give so much attention to a single sword when there are so many swords in existence, like the holy swords and the others. The reason is that before God died, he made a prophecy that the one who will take the divine slaying sword from its resting place is the one who will decide of the future of humanity and consequently the world. Which means the one who would draw the sword will be the person who the world will acknowledge as its proper ruler, not the devils, not the angels, not the fallen angels, nor any other faction. The one who wield the sword will be the one who rules the world. And all of the nature beings, whether they be good or evil, would be forced to obey him. I see this will be troublesome to handle. I am sure this will cause a lot of commotions, and the other factions wouldn't accept this easily. Serziches commented with a sigh, while Lilia giggled in her hand. That is why I am here, of course. Lilia responded while Naruto turned to look at her in disbelief, while Ren scowled at the insinuation. She can protect him much better than Lilia could. Right, so you will be his protector. Serziches nodded his head, though he said protector, but he had a feeling that Lilia's job is to make sure that the boy stays in the right path. He didn't have to since the legend says that Lilia Lilith is as strong if not stronger than Ophis the Ouroboros dragon. Speaking of Ophis. Now that is over with, I would like to know what is Ophis the Ouroboros dragon doing here? He asked as looked down to look at Ophis in the eyes, a feat that could destroy any lesser beings. Well, Naruto started, but Ophis cut him off. We are in an intimate relationship. Everyone was frozen stiff at that claim, while Naruto immediately broke down into sweats, while Serziches was frozen in shock and disbelief, along with Grafia, who was staring at her look-alike. It was so silent that you could hear a pin hitting the ground once it was dropped. And it was broken by Renj, who immediately wrapped her fingers around Naruto's neck and started throttling him with a dark look on her face. Naruto-san. When did this happen? Even though I, Renj, was always here to do as you please and pleasure you in every possible way. How could you turn me down for this? Renj creached with a crazed look on her face. Why, you're choking me? Naruto tried prying her off of him as she throttled him, and I do not know what she is talking about. He is wearing an orange boxer with hearts, Ophis added, while everyone froze again, with Naruto turning white in shock. How did you know that? Naruto asked in fear, while Renj started shaking in rage. Naruto-san. Renj began as a black aura taking the shape of a giant beast appeared behind her as she looked at Naruto with dead eyes. I swear I didn't know how she did that. And you were sleeping in my bed earlier, right? So you would know if I was doing anything with her. Naruto explained while Renj blinked as the dangerous aura around her disappeared. That's right. Renj immediately turned to Ophis. You shitty dragon. Trying to set up my beloved. She would have jumped Ophis right there and then had it not been for Naruto kicking her on the back of her head, completely knocking her out. Are you into little girls? Serziches asked as he took a step back while Naruto turned to look at him with an annoyed frown. No. And don't you look at me like that. I don't want to be looked at like that, especially if the one looking at me is you. I know who you are. Serziches. Lucifer, a cis-con. Serziches froze in shock. I am not a cis-con. He immediately retorted as if he had been called this way many times before. Anyway. Serziches coughed in his hands. Now that is over with, don't you think it's time for you to stop this little show of hostility? He asked with a smile while Grafia looked shocked as she just now noticed the floating golden blade surrounding them and was completely pointed at them. Ah, sorry. Naruto rubbed his back with a sheepish smile before the floating golden swords disappeared. Serziches-sama. Grafia called out now that she finally got over her shock. If I may. What is it, Grafia? Grafia turned to the other silver-haired maid and took a step towards the shorter-haired maid. I wanted to know who this is. Grafia answered while Serziches nodded his head. He completely forgot about her due to the presence of Ophis. Yes, I wanted to know who she is too and why she looks so much like Grafia. Naruto turned to the now named Sakuya, who was calming staring at Grafia while he scratched his head. He too was surprised when he first saw Grafia. He even thought that they were twin sisters at first. Well, I do not know, but Sakuya here is a maid of a friend of mine. She has been for approximately 500 years. Grafia and Serziches turned to each other. Then that means she's older than Grafia. Naruto-sama, my mistress is quite worried of you suddenly leaving. She thought that you hated her, which caused you to leave. Sakuya's word made him wince. Grafia raised an eyebrow at Sakuya as she looked her up and down before settling on her breast. Looking down at her own breast, she looked Sakuya in the eyes and a small unnoticeable smug smile appeared on her face. For some reason a small unnoticeable tick mark appeared on Sakuya's cheek as she walked towards Grafia and pressed her forehead against her. Naruto-sama, for some reason her face irritates me. What a coincidence. Serziches-sama, would you mind if I dispose of her? An ominous thunder roared as a visible static could be seen clashing as they glare at each other. The strongest queen of the underworld and the time mistress of Jinsakyo has finally met each other. Naruto and Surziches looked at each other and a small red circular magic crest appeared around the both of them. They are not going to be here when these two ducked it out.